business. All right, welcome everybody to week 3 of Fab Feb. What you're gonna want, obviously I hope you have your workbook still in front of you, and the oil that I picked for this week is Motivate, because we're on week 3. So if I can motivate you through, if we can motivate ourselves through this one, we are over halfway through by the time, right? We're on week 3, there's only 5 weeks. So if you can make it through this call, you've made it so far, okay, in just 1 hour. So grab your Motivate, smell that. If you don't have Motivate, you can make a mock version with some wild orange and peppermint. But we have a lot to cover, all good stuff to cover, but we're gonna see how far we can get, okay? From our homework from last week, I just looked in the Facebook group. I might have to refresh one more time. I didn't write it down. Kelsey M, Laura Whip, Meg, Alta, Lisa, Sonia. I think that's who I have. So good job on that. Remember, if you are on live on the Sunday calls and you do your homework all 5 weeks in a row, that's $50, okay? And also feel free to follow along with the daily mentor calls that are listed again in the workbook. That can be really helpful reinforcement and good to hear from somebody else too. So far we've prepped our names list. We have talked through how to contact them in all different ways. I hope you guys liked my outlines. We've learned how to effectively sample and give people a positive oil experience. So now it's time to get somebody to a class, get them, have that conversation with them, okay? So has anything that we've done so far, do you feel like it's super hard or complicated? Like at face value, like I know we've had hiccups with some of it, but at face value, are any of those things super complicated? No, they're not, right? So we're just going through the basics. I promised you the basics. So quick question for you here. Who here loves classes and who here loves one-on-ones? Okay, so classes, by class people, raise your hand for those of us who love classes. Okay, who likes one-on-ones better? Okay, it's all good. So we are teaching the basic format of a class, because the truth is, if you know a class outline well, you can also do a one-on-one outline well. So don't be like, don't tune me out, because I'm actually a one-on-one person too. But this is the way that we're going about this, is in the class scenario, okay? You can do it either way. But honestly, so one of the reasons, so if you raise your hand because you like one-on-ones better, we all probably have some reasons for that. But is one of those reasons because you feel like every time you have a class, you have basically 0% enrollment? Maybe not, but one of them might factor into it, right? Getting people there, getting people enrolled. And so with what we're going to be talking about, is going to change your feelings about classes in that way. So in my opinion, if you can spend 1 to 2 hours in front of 6 people and get them all to enroll, or even 4 of them, that's a really good investment of your time. So even if you're not super open to classes, keep your mindset open, because if you can learn how to do this well, it can be a really effective way to help people and grow your business, okay? All right, does anybody here know the #1 rule? I don't know, #1 class rule when it comes to your attendees? That was a vague way to put it. What's the #1 rule? Does anybody know it? Did I do that vague enough? I think I did. What needs to happen before somebody comes to a class? Sampling. Yes, an experience, a negative experience or positive experience, right? We sample because there should be nobody in your basic oil class that has not had a positive oil experience. If they have not had a positive oil experience, they do not have like a green light by their name, you do not invite them, right? Because we're gonna see why in just a minute. So work with me here. You're gonna see how this is connected. What are some of the common objections you get in a class? Maybe during the class or at the close, you know, what are like, I don't mean this unkindly, but like those people, like the people who sit there and are like, I'm not even gonna touch it, right? Like those. So what are the people? Smell gives them headaches. They want to think about it. I'm checking the chat, sorry. Who do they usually want to talk to? How are they different from other brands? Praise the Lord, yes, hear that one all the time. They want to talk to their husband or spouse first. Cost is a big issue that you run into, right? Yes. Those are all legitimate. Amen to all those objections. Okay, do you guys realize, can't afford it, do you realize that almost every single one of those objections dissolves when you simply give somebody a positive oil experience before they come? So they're no longer thinking, I can't afford that. You're working with them to find something they can't afford because they understand why they would want it. They're not saying, do they really work, because they've understood that they work. And they are sitting in a class of people who are there who have also had positive oil experiences in because it worked for them. Okay, what else do we hear? Oh, spouses who literally say, do not come home without that oil, instead of, I have to go check with my spouse, right? There's no, we're eliminating tough attitudes, talking about other oil brands, right? Like these things are eliminated, right? So we agreed that there seems to be, when we lay this out, there's more prep work maybe than some of us are used to, but there's good reason for that prep work. Okay, so nobody comes to a class without a positive oil experience, and you won't have to deal with half those objections. Okay, or if any. Okay, other class basics, just some things I want to highlight. I've got like 4 of them. So number one, like when it comes to like basic rules or concepts for classes, number one is duplication. Duplication, my friends. In its most basic sense, that means that I can tell you one thing and you can go and repeat that one thing correctly to somebody else, right? That's duplication. We can't be too eloquent in our classes or too perfect, too sciencey. You should be able to literally put your class supplies in a box, set it up in like 40 seconds, and it should be really easy. People who are there should be thinking, I can do that. They should be thinking, maybe in a little more crass, she gets paid what to do that? That's probably what they should be thinking. Okay. So there's a lot we can talk about when it comes to essential oils. We don't want to overwhelm people. If you come off like an expert, you will easily kill off half of your opportunities. There is a time for your knowledge. You can save it all for continuing education. That's week 5. We'll talk about it, but this is not the time for your knowledge. Okay, so 1 was duplication. 2 is bookmarking, and the rule of 3 things. So bookmarking means, well, first, you'll see in the format of what we're going to go through is that there's 3 basic things shared. There's like 3 things. We group things in 3s. Here's 3 things. Here's 3 things. It's a number that works well, especially in a presentation format. And then the other thing is that, so for each one of those things, this is what Gary has a youth ministry degree, and he always used to tell me this, and I really understand it now. You tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. He like always used to say this to me, and like in, prepping to share with youth. And I was like, it's true. You tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you tell them what you just told them. That's called bookmarking. And that's a very important concept. And you're going to see that in this class format as well. Okay. So the second thing I told you was bookmarking and the rule of 3 things. Okay. The third thing, like a principle for oil classes, is that you're not running an oil club. Okay. Amazing presentations, amazing PowerPoints, specialized topics, oils for pets, oils for your love life, oils for women, oils for hormones, oils for your husband, oils for your children, oils for your baby. Like that has a time and place. This is not that. Okay. People will really love to show up, but nobody will duplicate that. Okay. And you will feel really smart, but it doesn't pay well either. So you can get creative with other things, but not the basic class format. And this might seem redundant. So 3 was don't run an oil club, and 4 is run the same class every week. Some of you are just going to hate that. You're going to be like, Amy, this is the most boring thing I've ever done. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to picture what it was like. Imagine what it was like for you the first time you sat in an oil class or with a friend and smelled about a bottle of peppermint, and what that was like for you, because that's what it's like for these people. That's what you need to remember. It's not really about you feeling bored. Okay. Your class should be the same class every single time. This class style will sign up the most people, will get the most people excited in the idea of the business or of teaching other people or hosting their own class. Okay. Can we talk about how to invite people to a class? We kind of left there last week after our sampling. So can you go to page 12 in your workbook? If we have different page numbers, I still haven't decided. But it says effective inviting at the top, and it's talking about daily mentor call number 10. I'm going to check the chat while you guys flip there. Okay, so effectively inviting to a class. They've had a positive oil experience. Realistically, you're on the phone following up with their oil experience, okay? And this is when you get to invite them to your class. So it's literally right in here. Okay, so I'm just going to read what's in here. If you think deep blue is awesome, that is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's incredible how many things you can solve with essential oils. My family actually has eliminated our monthly trips to the ER for ear infections because of our ability to use essential oils. So here's what we're going to do. There's an amazing intro to oils class on Thursday at 7 and another class Saturday at 9 a.m. I think what you will learn could honestly change your life. I would love for you to come. Which one of those times works better for you? Okay. Okay, great. Saturday at 9 a.m. That's great. So I'm going to call you on Thursday and I will give you some more details for the class. So we'll talk then. Okay. So you'll notice there at the end that you're going to set the expectation of when, like we've been doing all along, when they're going to hear from you again. That's pretty easy, right? So I'm sorry, I should have said this first. Can you guys bear with me? Do you guys remember what the average show rate is for a class typically? Besides the fact that it's terribly low. Let's just agree it's low. Low. Some say 30%, some say 15%. If you invite the way that what I just said in the next two things I share with you, it's 80%. Your show rate is 80%. Like they paid, Elise Genevieve and her husband paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to test the numbers on that over and over again, like copious amounts of money. So I'm not just like pulling that out of somewhere. It's been tested. Okay, so that's how you invite them. And then if you look into the next box, it talks about the 2-day phone call reminder and the 2-hour text reminder. 2-day phone call, 2-hour text. So these are the ones that she's like, you do not change these, okay? So you call them 2 days before the time and you give them more info about the class. Do not ask them, hey, are you still planning on coming? Okay, you say, hey, I'm excited to see you. In the class this Saturday morning, we will be talking more about essential oils and anxiety. I really think it will help your daughter. There will be plenty of parking on the street, so just find the closest spot. You could give them a tip about parking. You could say, my dog won't bite you, but it sounds like he's really gonna bite you, but don't worry about it, come right in. You could say, you know, whatever. Just pick something, a detail about the class, and share that with them, okay? And then texting them 2 hours before the class. And you know why? So let's just pretend it's an evening class. Okay. So I thought this was so funny, but it's so true. Elise is like, they're going to get home and they're going to be like, I don't want to put pants back on. I'm not going out. Like people will choose not to come to your class because their pants, or like my pants don't really fit right. They will make that decision. But, and we kind of like, right? Or yeah, I don't want to put a bra back on. Like I'm not going to do it. So they're going to make that decision. So, okay. So 2 hours, you text them, okay? First, the 2-day one must be a phone call. The 2-hour beforehand must be a text. And it says, I'm excited to see you tonight. I have a surprise for you. Or you could say, can't wait for you to come today. I've got a gift for you. And if they ask what it is, you simply say, it's a surprise. You'll see when you get there. Okay? This can be whatever you want it to be. Elise was like, for all they know, you are knitting them a scarf. And they're like, I've got to put my pants on because she's knitting me a scarf and I have to be there. Okay. So it doesn't really matter. She says it could be a sample of lemon oil, an On Guard soaked apple slice. For gosh sakes, people, it does not have to be impressive. I really loved the Class in a Box is finally back in stock. The 5 mil wild oranges. You can get 10 5 mil wild oranges for $25. It's an incredible bang for your buck with other supplies in there too. Great way. 5 mil wild orange, okay? Does this make sense? Does anybody have any questions about this? Right? They're going to be there. They think you're knitting a scarf. If you have a no-show, a good way to follow up is just to say, are you okay? Right? Why not? Like, that's not unkind. Are you okay? And you could always invite them to the next class or to a one-on-one with you, depending on the timing, how it falls, like if you feel like they're really ready, okay? Because you know what? You still have their gift for them. I still have your gift. I still have it. Okay. Does anybody on this call feels like what we just went through, there's no wrong answer? Does anybody on this call feel like that was manipulative, what we just did or what we just walked through? Nobody's willing to answer me on that. Should we threaten them to get them to come? Thanks, Em. That's what I do. I knit you a scarf and I will tie it around your neck if you do not come. Yes, it's just working our plan. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so there are some people, maybe this is not you on this call, maybe it's other people who you might interact with someday, who are going to think this is manipulative. And I thought Elise had a really good point. If you think this is manipulative, then you don't believe in the power of the class and the message that you have to share with people. Like, you simply don't. And she just basically, she was said from the stage, you come to my class and generations will be changed. Generations will be changed from you sitting in my class. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. If you transform somebody's life with, healthcare in that way, if you think about what's happened in each one of your lives with that, really step back, I think it gives you pause when you start to go down that road of like, oh, is this manipulative? Okay. How are we doing with that? Are we doing pretty good with that? So look at pages 13 and 14. If you flip, there's an amazing flow chart of everything we just went through. Okay, you invite them to try, you deliver, you do a 2-day follow-up, all the things we just did. Okay, so there's that beautiful visual for you, for those of you who love that. Okay, we're going to talk about the Intro to Oils class now. I told you we had a lot. I know you're going to be like, I'm so tired. If you're re-smell your Motivate again if you have to, okay?
While they're re-smelling, can I just say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Some of my I didn't write down a lot because I was just kind of in a glaze trying to take in Elise. But she said, this is one thing she said at the end of this section. She said, there's a right way and a wrong way to sample, and the right way works every single time in every single country. Because like, it's easy for us to say we live in a very remote, tiny area, it's not working. Like, everyone can think of reasons, but she's like, if you do it right, you do it consistently, you're duplicatable, you're clear, it's going to work every time.
Yeah. Yes, totally. Okay, so let's talk about the Intro to Oils class. We're calling it Essential Oils Made Easy. It's your basic class, okay? It's your basic 101 class. So I think we should probably talk about a little bit of supplies first. So if you, on page 16, she has the list of supplies. It's not long, it's not complicated, okay? Look at this, she doesn't even bring all 10 oils. You can if you want. Peppermint, wild orange, deep blue, On Guard. If you want to show a lifelong vitality pack, you can have that, okay? That was 4 oils, 4 oils. Okay, 10 to 15 sample oils, quarter drams, right? These are for your giveaways. We're gonna talk about what you do with those. I think it's good to be using the top 10 oils for these, to fill these. So I just have like a little sachet, a drawstring bag, and I have those in there, and it's super easy to use. Class handouts or enrollment forms, I like the ones from the Essential Oils Made Easy one. I'll show you on my screen in a second. That Dana Moore and Jenna worked on. Kit handouts, and those are the enrollment forms and the kit handouts. She's like, if you don't want to pay to print out kit handouts, just laminate them. Print them once, laminate them, and reuse them, okay? I think it's kind of nice to let them take the class handouts home. If you don't even want to use handouts, it says next. If you aren't using handouts, just give them a piece of paper to write on. That's fine. You at least need them to be able to write down their top 3 health concerns. Pens, 8 vial keychains from doTERRA. They come with the bottles in them for $6.50. You can get them from Oil Life without the bottles for $4.27. I mean, you can look, they're not complicated. They're basic, but you're gonna want those as incentives for people to book a class. Essential Life books, okay? So the spiral bound ones, how much did we end up paying for them a piece? 10, 12? 10-ish, 10 a piece, $10 a piece on those. If you're like, I can't do that, then use A to Z guides. The reason you want the Essential Life books, this is part of what helps buy you time when you're working with people individually over the close. It buys you about 15 to 20 minutes if you use the Essential Life books for those $10 a piece. A to Z guides probably only buy you 5 minutes and they're gonna be out the door. So just something to think about. Light refreshments, not for the Intro to Oils class, for the business basics part. For the whole, when they get there for the Intro to Oils class, all you have is water with some citrus oils. That's it, okay? Nothing fancy. Snacks are for later. Yeah, A to Z book is tiny print. There are other ones that are to like Healthy Can Be Simple or Top 10 Oils guides. There are other little guides that you can look at too if you're not loving the A to Z guide. Okay, that's it for supplies. That's not a lot. You need a distraction-free environment, no kids or pets running around. Okay, and you need to keep the class presentation to around 45 minutes, never over an hour, with an additional 15 to 20 minutes to sign people up. If you go longer than 45 minutes for your presentation, you have decided that your voice talking and you sounding like an expert is more important than finding shares and builders. Okay, that's the decision that you've made if you go past that mark. That's what Elise said. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. And then you can see as the page 16 goes on, it just walks through the different components of the oils class, okay? She says realistically, a good class is like 7 to 8 people. And for every 2 attendees, 1 wellness advocate. Every 2 to 3 attendees means 1 wellness advocate for like a really effective closing. Mom, are you going to say something?
Meg had a good question for you in the comments.
Sorry, I cleared my chat. Hold on. I didn't clear it. It's right.
She says, does she not have samples of all the oils on hand for the classes then at all?
Right. Like literally just like your 4 big bottles, or if you wanted to have your top 10 big bottles and then just those little samples. Yeah. You just want to use your new big case that you won. I'm just kidding. Can you address the handout? There's a ton of stuff. Do you want me to show you the handout? 1 second. Let me pull it up. I've got it. And then I cleared it away. Shoot. Okay. I'll share my screen. This is the one that I like. But again, if you're like, I'm not going to use one, then I think that's possible. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. So this is essential oils made easy. And so look, 3 things. It's got basic oils on here. It's just one. It's a front and back. That's it. 3 ways to purchase, 3 types of people, 3 health concerns, like literally 3 things. Okay. And the theme is of 3. So you can download that for free. There's 0 cost. That's a free download at livenaturallytools.com. Okay. Is my internet okay? It says I'm bad. Am I okay? Oh, what is wrong with my internet? We just paid to have it fixed. Okay. Okay. Sorry, moving on here. All right, so let's just then, I don't think we're gonna have time. Let's see, there's one more question. Oh, Live Naturally Tools. Live Naturally Tools. Okay, so let's flip our page to page 17, and it's literally gonna start us walking through the class, okay? Oh, does anybody have questions about compliance? Or no? Do we have questions about compliance here?
Is this a trick question?
No.
I'm like,
does it feel like a trick question? Sorry, guys. So I think that this was a helpful analogy. So as far as like compliance, like doTERRA and the FDA, we're playing nicely in the sandbox right now. Like there's not, we're in safe ground. Everybody's playing nicely. So as long as we don't swing too far one way, as long as you don't all start posting things about the coronavirus online on social media, we should be fine. So share your stories normally as you want in your classes, in your one-on-ones. I would not post them on social, online. Okay. It's the online stuff that's still tricky. And this is also why when we talk about testimonial time in the classes, it's super amazing because all the people sharing testimonials, mostly all, are not enrolled. So they can say whatever they want. Like, oh, really? Tell me more about what frankincense did for you. And just let them talk. Okay. Okay. So you'll see it's just, we start with the introduction. You introduce yourself, how you've been using oils, how you started using oils. And here's the key. Your intention is to help them understand the power of essential oils and how it can change their health and their family's health. So the key line here in italics is, I'll have done my job today if you leave this class knowing 3 cool things about essential oils. You can give a short testimonial of how essential oils have changed your life. This is not your most powerful one. That's for later at the end of the class. So that is your introduction. And then you kick off right into 3 cool things about essential oils. So the first cool thing about essential oils is that they're 100% natural and safe. And you can read, we know these things, right? Nothing added, nothing taken away. 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs, okay? You know a lot of those things. We don't have time for me to read through it all, and you don't want me to, but you can see it right there, okay? To help you feel how powerful doTERRA essential oils are, let me give you an experience with one of the most important essential oils, peppermint. This is where you can have everybody put a drop of peppermint in the palm of their hand, and you have them, I think it's really hard to have them dab their finger. I have them dab their thumb in it and then put it rest it on the roof of their mouth, okay? She does a funny a skit where she like pretends to put it in her eye and teaches them how to use coconut oil. I don't think I would necessarily do that, but she did have somebody who like before she could stop him was like, here, you go ahead and dab your finger and then put it in your eye. And he was really fast to do it and actually did it. So I just say put it right on the roof of your mouth, okay? So put it on the roof of your mouth, and then we rub your hands together and cup them over your face. And then she challenges them to see if they can breathe it in for 30 seconds. And then you just wait for their response, right? If you're to give some peppermint to somebody in that way and have them do that, they are going to have a response to that. It's going to open up their airways, get them energized and ready to go. And it gives them a great experience, okay? She talks about CPTG a little bit more, and then you can see there, look at the end. So that's the first cool thing about essential oils. They are 100% natural and safe. Who can tell me the first cool thing about essential oils? And so whoever answers first, then you let them have a chance to say it, and then you give them, this is where your little samples come in. You give them a little sample of peppermint, in this case is what I would choose. It could be anything. And then when they, they're probably going to come up and, you're going to hand it to them and you're going to say, you're going to use this to help keep you energized. You can use this if you're having a fever or a hot flash, and explain how to use it, or for a headache, right? And give that to them. Okay. And by the end of the class, when you ask a question, people are going to be leaping out of their chairs to answer it over these little quarter drams. It's very funny. So the second cool thing is they're more effective than medications. Okay. Before we move on, this is really key. Guys, listen to this part. I love this part. Before we move on, do we have any medical professionals in the room? Let them raise their hands. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to share next is going to sound very elementary to you. Most of us in this room don't have the medical training you do, so I'm going to really simplify things so that this makes sense to everybody. Is that okay? Okay, this prevents the hecklers, right? Those people just want everybody else in the class because they have spent half of their life learning things that I will never even be able to comprehend. So that I don't fault them, and they want, right? So now we've acknowledged that they know all these things, and now you don't have to go back and forth in the front of the class with the medical professionals, right? So then it gives you a chance. You can say, let's go back to biology 101. And then did you guys have you seen this cell explanation? People really like this one. Who here? Yes. Okay. Sonia knows. She's putting up her fist. Okay. Let's say this is a cell in your body. We know that cells have oily cell membranes. The cell membrane protects the cell. It keeps all the good things in and all the bad things out. There's your cell membrane. Did you see it? Did you see it there? That was sneaky. Now, 2 of the things that are harmful to our cells are bacteria and viruses. Bacteria usually forms on the outside of the cell, and viruses duplicate the DNA on the inside of the cell. All you have to remember is bacteria on the outside and viruses on the inside. So let's say you went to the doctor with a bacterial infection. What would he recommend to give you? An antibiotic, right? After taking the antibiotic for 7 to 10 days, in most cases, it might clear up the infection, but it often comes with wreaking havoc on your gut, hormones, and immune system. Now, if you have a virus like the cold or flu, what would he say? Right? And they're going to say, go home, drink water, rest. And the reason why is because most of the modern recommendations are water-based synthetic medications, and they frequently come with side effects and addictions. Water and oil don't mix, so if the recommendation from your doctor is water-based, it will have a really hard time penetrating through that oily cell membrane and stopping the duplication of a virus. Essential oils are different. They are oil-based, which means they can permeate the cell membrane. They can work on a cellular level without side effects or addictions, and they can combat bacteria on the outside of the cell and prevent the duplication of viruses on the inside. That is why they are often more effective than the modern approach to health problems. That is the second cool thing about essential oils. Who can tell me the second cool thing about essential oils, right? Same thing. And on this one, she recommends handing out a sample of On Guard to the person who answers it. Okay? Okay, don't worry. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. The third thing that she shares about, if you flip your page to 19, so the third cool thing about essential oils is that they're cheaper than traditional medical care. I might actually show you something about this really quickly, though. Okay, I actually am, because there's class participation in this one, and I want you to catch her vision. And then I'll back off. Don't worry. Hang with me, people. Sniff your Motivate. So the third cool thing about essential oils is that they are more affordable than traditional medical care. Let me explain. Who can tell me their copay for visiting the doctor? And then you actually let people answer. Some people might say $20, $30, whatever. You are honestly hoping, though, that somebody will say zero. I pay zero. That's what you're hoping. That's great. Okay, and you go with whatever the lowest number is that somebody shared. And if your doctor gave you a prescription for an antibiotic, how much would it cost to fill the prescription? And then again, you let people volunteer what they pay. Okay, you might say $10, $5, whatever. But again, you're going to go with the cheapest number that somebody gives you. And again, you're probably going to you could get a zero. Okay. So when someone in my family has an ear infection, we rub 2 drops of lavender and 2 drops of tea tree around the ear and put them to bed. 12 hours later, the ear infection is cleared up. It usually takes 7 to 10 days when you're using antibiotics. And with my essential oil remedy, it costs us about 64 cents. Now, whether it costs you $20 for the copay and the prescription, or it costs you zero because you live in a country with free medical care, essential oils are still less expensive than the gas in the car you pay to go to the doctor's office. And that's not including the half day of work you probably had to take off for this emergency. We also haven't taken into account the fact that antibiotics harm your gut and that you might have to buy extra probiotics for 2 weeks to fix the damage, which is even more money. We save hundreds of dollars a year in medical costs because of essential oils. You cannot afford not to use natural solutions. That is why essential oils are more affordable than traditional medical care. And that is the third cool thing about essential oils. Who can tell me the third cool thing? And then the sample she offers there is lavender. And then she says it's optional if you have enough people there to say who can tell me all 3 cool things about essential oils. And again, that's another opportunity for you to give an oil, a little quarter gram away. Okay, does anybody have questions about that? I know, again, I'm sorry, that was a lot of me talking.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So something that I really, really like about her outlines when we give samples is the like managing expectations, right? Like talking about the medication and, like, well, it's fine. We'll just get you a different one. I kind of feel like this sets people up to believe that they only need one application of an oil and a problem goes away, which isn't totally, sometimes that might be the case. You might exactly have that experience, but it's not always the case. And I wouldn't want people to feel like they've been hoodwinked, if it's like, oh no, you actually have to do this for several days. Do you know what I mean? Like, did she address that at all?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You mean probably most specifically in the third cool thing, the one that we just went over.
Yeah. So I think it's still like the price comparison still stands, but I cause like really all those things, even if you have to use them for a week, like I understand that, but I feel like it's a little misleading if it's like, this cost me 50 cents because it might be more than that,
Yes. I think that what might be, because I think you said it too, like when you boil down probably any process that we use essential oils for, it's always going to be more affordable than, I would say almost always going to be more affordable than traditional healthcare. But this is the easiest one to explain. So if you feel a little bit sweaty about that, I would say I could spend 12 hours crunching the numbers on all the health problems we've concerned, that it maybe have taken a couple, right? Maybe sometimes it takes a week or a couple months, but it always ends up being more affordable. But I'm going to go with a very specific, concise example so I don't bore you or overwhelm, some of those things. But I think you could just address that if you felt like you needed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like
Not
that
answering
better.
your question though.
No, I think I like that better, being like kind of laying it out more. So, I mean, I understand it's more simplified to be like, hey, this is, this is how this works, but it's like, well, but it's not always. So I like that better, kind of laying it out a little more. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think you could address it. Okay, so you do your 3 cool things about oils. Then you could see it starts talking about the 3 ways to use essential oils. Same thing. Explain it. This was the first thing. Offer a little quarter dram. Do that for topically. Do that for internally. I want to point out one of the most genius lines I have ever heard in the internally section for oils. Okay, so it's on the middle of the bottom of page 20. So the third way to use essential oils is internally. doTERRA essential oils are not only safe to use internally, they are recommended. The CPTG standard means these oils are medicinal grade and are completely safe to ingest, unlike most other brands. You can put them in your mouth or drink them in your water. If you don't like the taste, put them in a veggie cap. It's like concocting your own little natural remedy. Okay, but that's doTERRA essential oils are not only safe to use internally, they are recommended. Okay, I thought that was a really good line. So I wanted to point that out. Okay, so same premise. You're following that all the way through. And then on page 21, you'll see that this is like her favorite section. She's like, you can't miss this part. The testimonial section. So it's the most fun, it's the most powerful. And this is the part that only works if people come having had a proper sampling experience, okay? So then each of your guests is going to sit there and they're going to be able to share their powerful experience that they've had. And remember, they're not enrolled. They can say whatever they want. Okay, she gives the 2 rules. You have to keep it under 60 seconds and it can't be the same health concern that somebody else shares. Okay, so this is like the social proof piece. This is hearing other people say it. We all know how valuable, who has had somebody in their class, even when we're not doing this way, who is not you, who is like, oh yeah, I use that all the time for this. And all the people are like, oh, really? Now I'm ready, right? They need to hear that. I get it, okay? So testimonial section, and then you transition to wholesale and kits and the 3 ways to purchase. So again, it's all about in 3s. She had us memorize this, and she had people, if you didn't memorize it, you were like publicly shamed, and people had to go up on stage, and if it wasn't word for word, she just said, goodbye now, goodbye. Okay? If you don't memorize it in Prague, she does this in Prague. If you don't memorize it, she doesn't let you on the bus to the tours at the castles that day. Like the bus doors closed, you have to stay you may not come. Okay, so she's like, memorize this, right? You can read a lot of this stuff. This is one that she wants you to memorize, so it comes out naturally. Okay, so it's so wonderful to hear your great experiences. Okay, so here we go. There are 3 ways to purchase doTERRA essential oils. The first way is retail. Nobody here is going to buy retail. The only time you would buy oils at retail prices is if you were at a chiropractor office, a spa, or another professional setting. It's the most expensive way to buy oils. The second way is wholesale. This is kind of like having a Costco card where you have an annual membership that gives you access to their great products at the best prices. With doTERRA, having a wholesale membership allows you to buy at 25% below the retail price. The third way, and the only way I buy my oils, is below wholesale. This is the smartest way to purchase your oils, and you will learn a little bit more about this later. As you have learned about the power of essential oils and how it can change our lives, you might be thinking, wow, this is more than I imagined. doTERRA wants to support you with this essential oil journey, and our goal isn't that you just have 1 bottle of tea tree for acne or deep blue for pain. Our goal is to teach you how to live a natural lifestyle so that when things come up like pain, allergies, cold, or the flu, instead of reaching for medicine, you can reach for natural solutions that don't have any side effects. doTERRA puts kits together that are cheaper than if you bought your oils individually. This is one of the ways you can purchase below wholesale. So if you add up the cost of all the oils, the kits will always be cheaper. All the kits include a free wholesale membership, and you'll have everything you need at your fingertips. Let me tell you a few things about the kit. Okay, so this is when you would pass out your kit handout, and you would highlight, she highlights the natural solutions, the healthy home, and the healthy start. Okay, so you can look at how she does that, how she has a way that she describes LLV. That's actually on page 28, how she does that. She does a healthy home kit. She does a healthy start kit. And then before she closes, she includes this thing about the 3 types of people. Do you guys see that on page 22? Okay, so the 3 types of people, this is the other one that she made us memorize. There was one guy, she renamed him. She was like, you look like an Alfonso. So he came up on the stage and she was like, your name is Alfonso now. And he didn't get it right. And Alfonso got a second chance. And he came back the next day and he did it word for word and he got a bottle of rose. And I was like, shut the front door. I want that rose. So this is the other one that you have to memorize. So we found that there are 3 types of people who come to these classes. The first type of person is excited to live a natural lifestyle. When they learn about the power of essential oils, they can't wait to share the products with their family. doTERRA supports this type of person by providing free essential oil education. The second type is sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, my mother needs these oils, or I want my friend to learn about this. These people naturally want to share what they love. doTERRA supports this type of person through a generous system to reward people who share the products. As these people consistently share over time, they can have their oils they purchase paid for each month. We call this free natural health care, and there are thousands and thousands of people all over the world who are currently receiving free natural health care from doTERRA. The third type of person has been watching me the entire time and thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to change people's lives through educating them about the power of essential oils. doTERRA rewards this type of person through an incredibly generous compensation plan. As these people educate others about the power of essential oils, they can earn enough to supplement or even replace their income so they can become financially free. If you are the second or third type of person, please come talk to me after the class and I can help you get started. Okay, I don't think that's pushy or obnoxious. I think that's pretty straightforward. There's 3 types of people at this class. Some of you just want your oils. Some of you are thinking about your friends, and some of you are pretty intrigued by what I'm doing up here. That's like, I don't think that, does anybody feel like that part was super in your face? Or just like a little bit more like, this is the way it is, okay? More motivate my friends. Page 23. No, this is good. It's way better when you're actually in the live class and you're not listening to me. That's all I can say. Okay, so remember that they've come prepared. So this is a soft close versus a hard close. Like, you don't have to be a master here. You're going to want your essential life book, enrollment kit handouts like we talked about, enrollment forms, paper and pens. So you close the class by sharing your most powerful oil testimonial. And then you basically kind of enter, you're gearing towards getting one-on-one with each person. So at the bottom of that first column, it says, this is one of my favorite parts of the class where you get to write down your top health concerns and then discover the solutions that will help you solve them. First, I'll share with you what my biggest health concerns were when I was introduced to essential oils, so you can share some examples. And now we're going to come around and help you individually choose the kit that will be best for you and answer any questions you may have. And I want to talk to you about something super cool. You've seen this before. This is my keychain that holds my 8. So when you're handing out those free oils, I know I have mine in a little sachet, but it's good to have them in those little in the keychain actually when you're handing them out so they see them. Okay, so this is my keychain that holds my 8 on-the-go oils. It's perfect because you always have your oils with you. If a kid is crying in the back of the car, you have lavender. If somebody eats the wrong thing while you're out, you have DigestZen. It's awesome. Everyone needs one of these on their keys so they have access to the oils whenever they need them. Who wants one of these? And everybody raises their hand, right? You've been working on that, right? Sue's got hers ready to go. So here's the thing. You're not actually going to purchase this for me. You earn it as a reward. If any of you would like me to come teach a fun class exactly like what we did today, I'll send you home with one of these. Here's how this works. You get an empty keychain, and when you put your class you get an empty keychain when you put your class on the calendar right now, so we can decide on a date that will work for both of us. And then when you actually have your class, for every person you have invited that comes, I'll put an oil in your keychain. So if you have 4 people there, I'll put 4 little sample vials in your keychain. And if you have 8 people come, I'll fill the whole thing up. Go ahead and write down your top 3 health concerns that you want to work on, and I'll come around, okay? So, this is where this individual approach, I think, takes a little bit, like, take a deep breath, like, takes a little bit of work. I think some of the people on this call are really good at this. I think Emily's actually going to do a closing workshop for us on our she's doing on our March Fierce Leader call, okay? So watch for that. But she says you come up next to them and you kneel next to them and you ask, What are we working on? That's all you ask, okay? That's the key phrase. You review their health challenges, what they've written down, and you help them write down the products that they need according to what you find in the book. So maybe they wrote down number one, I'm really, I don't know, I need to clear my skin. And so you go to the book and you look under acne and you help them write down the things. She said do the top, right? What is it? Sonia and Mom, what did she have you do? Well, she didn't have a system for it. She just kind of picked, because obviously when you go and you look in a reference book, there's a lot of oils picked, right? So kind of like for sure write down ones that would be in the top 10 or ones that you're like, oh, this would be for sure, right? You don't, just because you're writing it down doesn't mean you're going to have them order all those things, but you can kind of compare, right? So for that health concern, you might write down a couple of different things. Does that make sense? Okay, so once you've gone through writing that all down, you say, here's what we're going to do. I suggest you start with the Healthy Start Kit. It has the melaleuca and the peppermint and the frankincense and lavender that you need to start addressing your health challenges. So I'm going to let you work on filling out this enrollment form while I help a few other people, and then I'll come back and I'll check on you. So you're assuming the sale, you're prescribing a set of solutions with confidence. They have come well prepared and they want to buy because of your sampling. You don't have to oversell or push bigger kits without cause. Recommend what you truly feel that they need. Does anybody have questions on that so far? We're almost done with the close part. I'm looking at the chat box. Okay, so then you go, when you come back to them and they filled out the form, you can say, how are we doing? I see you've filled out I'm on page 24. I see you've filled out the enrollment form. Excellent. Because you're investing in your health, I want to invest in you. This is how you schedule the wellness class. Do you guys see this? You got to schedule it there, okay? I know you're excited about your oils right now, but I promise by the time you receive your oils, you're going to forget a lot about what we talked about. So true. So I'd be willing to come to your house or meet at a coffee shop, whatever, after your oils arrive, and I'll show you exactly how to use them. We'll create a morning, afternoon, and evening protocol for you, and we can even do this for everyone in your family if you'd like. This is called a wellness consult, and I'm willing to do it for free because I want you to get the best results possible. It's always best to do it in your home because I can show you exactly how oils work around your house, which is true. Your kit will probably arrive Tuesday, so let's schedule your wellness consult for Thursday. It will last about 30 to 45 minutes. What time works best for you? Great, I'm looking forward to it. And then the last thing that you do is you get to talk about the booking a class. So did you want to go home with this awesome essential oil keychain, right? And then going into, let's decide on a date together where I can come and share with your friends the power of essential oils, and I will send you home with this keychain tonight. Okay, so you can see how she does that, okay? Questions? So much.
You know, she's kneeling so that she's like serving them, right? Are you getting that piece? She like kneels down and she's like talking to them very sincerely. And she said, do not stay, like you, when you're booking those additional, like you stay on your knees through this next part that Amy's going to talk about. So
I need you, Gary.
Anyway, just wanted to point that out.
Does anybody else have a question? Can you sit in this chair for a second? Okay, good. I feel like this seems really silly, but I just actually want you to see this. I know, right? We're like in our stuff from sledding. I've got like long johns on. You're going to have to forgive me. Just sit here for a second. Just sit. It's no big deal. Okay, so she literally, I know you can't see, but she's got one knee up and she's like, what are we working on today? Right? So like alongside, like she's not in front of them. She's like next to them. So I think that's like important, right? That's like not a threatening position to be in. You don't have to be as close. He's my husband. You don't have to put your hand on their inner thigh. You can do this differently. But I just wanted you to be able to see that. Thank you. He's so glad he came over here.
You need some passion.
I know. Okay. Well, we put motivate on, not passion. So here you go. Thank you. So appreciated. He was all cozy on the couch.
I just, you know, having worked in the emergency room for 12 years, it was the people, like I used to see staff like literally kneel down in front of loved ones when they were talking to them. And it just is such an endearing posture and it really makes a difference.
Okay.
Don't tell me, told me no.
Tell them what I told them. I just told you how to teach a class. A lot of things about teaching a class. I am not going to, we don't have time for me to go, praise the Lord, read you the business basic intro. Actually, it's really good. It's really good. It's not weird at all. And actually, all this last little blurb at the end of page 24 shows you how easy it is to invite people to stay for the business basics intro, okay? So for all of you that would like to stay and have an essential oil snack, this is where you're bringing out your snacks. We will first be having a discussion on the joy of sharing essential oils. It will last about 15 minutes, so stay and join us. We will start in about 5 to 10 minutes as soon as we're done helping everyone here. Okay? So that's where Elisa's like, everybody stays for the snacks. Kit handouts, enrollment forms. So I paid like $5. I paid a one-time fee for the kit handouts from Live Naturally Tools because they have like 5 different ones, I think. Like one that shows all 5 enrollment kits, one that just shows 4, one that shows 3 of them, like another 3 of them. So then it shows the simple solutions with add-ons. I paid for that one, and that's what I've been using. But doTERRAs are updated on their site. And enrollment forms, you can either do doTERRAs, but remember they took the credit card payment info off of it. So if you want that on there, you're going to have to look in Fierce Leaders, and we'll help you out. Maybe I'll post in the group. Mandy Johnston has permission from doTERRA to remake ones that have credit card on there and pay, like that back on there. Okay, so those are, I'm using hers with a credit card info on there. Good questions. Other questions?
I have a question about people not bailing, but like ditching. So is there something that she's having everyone write down their top 3 health concerns or whatever, look through this book, I'll come talk to you. But is like what I've done in the past is be like, don't leave because when I talk to you, I'm going to give you your free gift or whatever. Like, is there anything like that? Or is she just like assuming people will stay continuing to write down there?
Yeah, she did say she had somebody who was walking out the door, and what did she say to them? I think she was like, sit down. Can't you just picture her? I know. I think you could totally write the saving the wild orange and say, you're going to get your free gift from me at the end. I think is totally appropriate. If you feel like people are skedaddling out the door.
Okay.
But I do think that as we implement this more and more and people have had a positive experience and are really ready to come and go home with something, are ready to buy, that people are going to skate out the door less. That was a good question. So yes, the snacks come out at the end and you invite them to the business basics intro, and it's really not weird. It's not weird at all. And the one thing I would say, I'm just going to share this story that Elise shared because I think it highlights the importance of the business basics intro well. And so she, the prog retreat that I was talking about before. So one of the things that she has there for people is like unlimited ice cream. You can have ice cream all day, 24/7. It's all the ice cream you want. And so she'll give a presentation. She has a presentation she gives, and then she says, everybody just go back and go ahead and get ice cream. So they go get their ice cream, and they all come back, and they're eating vanilla ice cream. Everybody's eating vanilla ice cream. And she's up at the front, and she is like scooping out, like, oh, isn't this the best mint chip ice cream? The best chunky monkey ice cream you've ever had. Like the best. Some of you heard me say this already. And they're all like, what? No, like we're eating vanilla. And she's like, oh, you didn't know? Oh, you were supposed to go through the hall, into the kitchen, take a left, into the freezer, open the freezer up, and it's under the fish sticks is where we keep like the chunky monkey. You didn't know? Like that's what you were supposed to. So this is kind of how we treat the business opportunity a little bit. So like all our customers are eating vanilla, and like I'm up in the front of the class eating like chunky monkey, like living the best life. And we are like, think that they just know to go do all those things, like know how to get it. And we never tell them how to get the mint chip and the chunky monkey ice cream. So they just sit there eating vanilla. So this is just a simple offering, an invitation, exposure to the business aspect of what we do. Okay. All right. I want you to actually look at it if you have time before you go to bed. It really is good. It's not long. It's not salesy. It's not pushy. And I love it. Talks about healing hands, what doTERRA's mission is all about. And you even get to implement, especially if you have other wellness advocates at your class, you can have them share their brief testimonials, just like you did in the product portion of the class where people shared product testimonials. And that's really powerful too. Okay. Okay. Any last questions? No. I've talked you all to death. But you've seen it, okay? There it is. So do you guys want to know your assignment? No, we don't want to know our assignment. Yes, thanks, Son. She doesn't pull out the snacks till after the business basics intro. Like they listen for the, 10 minutes and then she pulls it out. So yeah, truly, she's like, people will sit through anything for a peppermint brownie. Let's be honest. Okay. So your assignment is this. I need you to give the class so I guess it's like page 20, starting with the class intro. So page 17 through page 23, when you get to individual attention, you could still practice that a little bit. You could model it, do a mock close there all the way through. But I want you to give that class to somebody, a spouse, a family member, a child, a stuffed animal, like give it to somebody. And I need we need to, if you're going to get $50 from me, I need you to document somehow that it happened, like a picture or like a short little video clip. If you do not have anybody to give a class to, record yourself giving it on, on a screen and post it in the group. Okay. But I need you to post the evidence that you've done it into our Fab Feb Facebook group. And that's your assignment, to really do that. You'll really see it come together. I think when you do it, it really is helpful. It might seem monotonous, but it's good. Okay. Does anybody have questions about that? That should make sense. Seriously, read through the business basics intro. It's good. Okay. And then next week, we're going to talk about the follow-up appointment. And remember, we only have 2 more weeks after this. You did this. Cheers for Motivate. I'm actually going to put on a little bit more. You don't if you're going to bed, my friends, and get some stuff done. And then we're going to talk next week, but go find somebody to give this class to, even if it's like, do me a favor. Can you listen to me? I need to practice this. Go find those people. They're out there. Okay. Have a good night, everybody.